Welcome back to Overshot, a paintball podcast. My name is Travis DeLayer. I am 50% of the hosting details of this podcast. The other 50% belong to my good friend Jonathan Rowland, aka Waldo. On this episode, we feature Brad Meads. Brad is a semi-pro player for the semi-pro player for the team, the Manawatu Titans. I was trying really hard not to mess that up. I probably still did anyway. But the Manawatu Titans are a semi-pro team out of New Jersey, and Brad, although his American player, was picked up by them this year. And we dig into all that kind of fun jazz in this episode. If you are new to this podcast, this is going to be the first time you hear me talk about our premier sponsor, Divisional Sports, baby. Divisional Sports are makers of the SF joggers and the Grind Air gloves, as well as the Grind Air jersey and the core jersey. They also have a ton of soft goods on their website. If you are looking to pick any of the soft goods, a t-shirt, maybe some joggers, maybe a jersey, maybe you like gloves now like me, you need to head on over to divisionalsports.com and use code OVERSHOT and you'll get 10% off your entire order. The guys over at Divisional have supported us from the beginning, so I have no problem reading theirs first. Great company. With great products, man. So again, the website is divisionalsports.com and the code is OVERSHOT and you'll save 10%. The next sponsor I need to tell you about are the makers of the best gear bag on this planet, and that's Volcano. The Volcano bag is fantastic. I love it. You took mine to ICPL. I fit everything I needed and without having to take like a massive gear bag. It was perfect, especially now with airlines. Your bag has to be so light. The Volcano bag is super light, so you're not going in there with like a 12-pound gear bag already. I wasn't overweight at all. And again, in general, I just have loved my gear bag. I actually have two now. I've got the expand bag to fit a little bit extra stuff for those national events. Love both of them. And if you want to pick one up, their website is volcanousa.com. And if you want to save 10% on your bag, you got to use code OVERSHOT10 to get 10% off your bag. They also have shirts too, some squeegees and other things on their website. Again, you use the code and you'll get 10% off any of it. And last, but for sure not least, coming on with some hot drops soon is Eric at Evil Gerbil Paintball. Evil Gerbil makes headbands, head wraps, jerseys, and pants, and they're all made by Eric, man. Just a great dude. I know he works really hard to like pick out the best fabrics for his stuff. And again, fantastic. All of his stuff is made by him. He doesn't outsource any of it. And I love supporting Eric. And I'm so glad he's decided to support this podcast. And if you want to support Eric, you need to head on over to evilgerbilpaintball.com. And if you use code OVERSHOT, you'll get 10% off anything you buy. But I would stay tuned. Maybe don't hop on this right so quick because he's got some new stuff coming out real soon that really looks nice, dude. I'm really excited for it. Really excited for his new stuff. And as always, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, please do it. It really helps us out. And this way, you'll never miss an episode, man. Whenever we come up with a new one, if you subscribe, you'll just see it. It'll come across, whether you're on YouTube or iTunes or Spotify or however you listen to us, man. Smash that subscribe button for us. But without further ado, let's get into the episode with Brad. Take it easy, guys. All right, guys, welcome back to Overshot, a paintball podcast. We're here with Brad, man. Thank you again for joining us, dude.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure.
Awesome, man. So everyone who listens knows how these things start, man. Dude, how did you find paintball?
So my grandparents used to live in Pennsylvania, actually, and so I was a little brother. Naturally, my older brother, he got a paintball gun first and decided to just go and shoot me in the woods a whole bunch. But I finally got mine, right? Oh my God, I'm trying to think what my first paintball gun was. It was a little pump. It was a little pump gun, and I loved it ever since I started. Like, I loved it. And then I got a Spider Electra. So I don't know if you guys remember all those Spider guns, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I got one of those. And my brother and I, my first tournaments ever were Quick Shot. We were like the original Quick Shot factory team. And
wow.
Yeah, we played like Captain Carl's. I don't know if you guys know what Captain Carl's is. We used to play like the Captain Carl's events, the original GPL events, things like that. And then we went in as Quick Shot Factory and we played like some of the MAPLs when it was still called that. It was at OXCC, and I kind of jumped right into it that way. But that's how I started. Was just in the woods. I think that's kind of how a lot of people did, but it was great.
You were Taylor's oldest time. You started playing rec ball on a birthday.
That's literally it. My brother got his first little pump paintball gun for his birthday, and it took me a few months of getting shot at to just be like, you know what, I need my own. so I started beating up on him a little bit. So that's what we've been doing. It's funny.
Yeah. So how long did it take for you to like really get into it? Like, were you just playing casual in the beginning? How long did you start taking it serious and then get into tournaments and whatnot?
Yeah, so I played casual for a little while, and then I actually met a friend of mine, Dave Philippone is his name, and Cody Allen, and they had the quick shot guys. So that's when I really started to kind of play like tournament paintball. I think it was like 2012 or 11, probably 2011, and then so we played with them for a couple of seasons, and then we made a team that was called Clutch. And we played GPLs, and we kind of did really well through there. And that was probably, honestly, up until the past like year, that was the most paintball I've ever played. I think the 1 year we played like 20 tournaments, which was a lot for us as kids.
Dang.
Thanks, parents, for driving me all over the East Coast to go play paintball because I was only like 14. So then we started doing that, and then we played. There was a field called the Playground that opened up. And we started playing with them. We were like the original Playground kids. And we formed a team called the Playground Army. We played Chicago, PSP Chicago in 2013 or 14, one of the two. And we won.
Nice.
Yeah, we were thrown together. Yeah, it was Scott. Yep, yeah. That was my introduction to the Bears guys, and those guys are amazing. I love all of them.
They just broke it. They just broke it like 30 minutes ago that their Seattle Thunder is now going to be called the Bears, which I knew forever, but you know,
we know.
I don't want to say everything I know. And then the other thing I kind of thought would happen. So they announced that Ivan Gonzalez is now playing with them, which I kind of.
We know.
I saw an Instagram of him at High Vibe the day they were at High Vibe, so I just assumed, you know. Like,
it's a good spot for Ivan too. Local, he's a local kid. He's played with High Vibe, and now he's playing with them. It's great. He's always he works so hard. You see him out there all the time. It'll be good for him to kind of get on that team and get going.
Yeah, and those guys have been playing paintball for ever.
Yeah,
dude.
They used to be the 495 kids. Was like before the Bears. The few of them were the 495 kids, and they used to beat us up so bad. And I'm so happy that's over with. I'm so happy that's over with. It's like I was so over it. But you know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's a huge pickup too. Like that's good for them. You know, get the Bears name back was crazy. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, but it's cool to see that name back. You know. See what they can
when you
do with
saw
it.
all those guys playing with Thunder, you kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. There's more. I think there's more stuff coming. You know, I think there's more coming.
I mean, the
Pro Division is
fucking
and Fire Fest right now.
Diesel and Goldman went to AZ Diesel and Spica, and then I don't know if any of you guys saw the Spick and Span show, but
I watched
he was like. Fucking, he did not like that guy. He's like, yeah, you instigated Dalton to leave, and then like he's like, no, Dalton was wheeling and dealing on his own. So it was like, and then they were bringing him about, you know, Baines tried to swoop in with a good deal, and they're like, how crooked. And then you know, I was because I watch everything. I watch Play the Game. I watch you know, Spick and Span show. I watch all the good gossip and. You know, I got nothing better to do than listen to them for hours at a time. But yeah, dude, it's just crazy. It's painful, and there's people out there. Like I heard that like half of Ironman's like off the team, and
I've been hearing about
the
that.
Thunder guys that left are maybe on Ironman now, and
that's what I heard also.
There's a lot going on.
That's not even semi-pro, dude. That's not
semi-pro's been getting crazy too. It's you know, like I play with the Titans, right? This is our first full year, and I'm just telling the guys because I'm like, hey, this is not normal right now. What we're jumping into is it hasn't happened in a while. Of like a lot of pro players coming down to semi-pro, a lot of new semi-pro teams forming.
Yep,
it's gonna get crazy this year, but I like it. It's good for the sport.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
So
1000%.
speaking of your team, how did you end up getting on a team from New Zealand, being a U.S. based player?
So there's a long answer I'll give it. It's kind of interesting. So
Yeah, I ain't got nothing but time. Let's hear it.
so I played with a team obviously called Clutch, and that was myself, my brother, a few other guys. We were the White Tea Gang for a little bit too. Some of
Mhm.
those guys, so we kind of combined. But uh, I'd say 2017, 2018, 2019, I really was kind of like in and out of paintball. I was only playing one event a year. So it's
Yeah.
just the AC events and that one Philly event. And I'm going to be completely honest. The only reason I did it is so my rank could stay down. So I could try and sandbag and win. My brother would always chirp in my ear, tell me I wasn't allowed to rank up. I had to stay D3 or so I could play D4, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so then I stopped, right? And I still lived in Jersey at that time. So then I moved down to Myrtle Beach, and I knew nobody, knew no field. There's a field 8 minutes away from my house, literally, which is a blessing in disguise. But I went there once, and it was a Sunday. It was beautiful outside, and there was no one there. I was like, well, I guess I'm done playing paintball. Like, that's it. It's
Yeah.
over. I don't know anybody. I'm out of the loop. So like a year went by, and I go to the field randomly, and then from Heat is just there. So I'm like, what are you doing here right now? Like, why are you in
Yeah.
Myrtle
This
Beach?
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And it turns out he moved here. And then, he kind of was just in my ear to keep playing, like get back out. And that was like a blessing in disguise, like big time for him moving here. So we've become really good friends, and we're at the field all the time. So then one day we were just there, and somebody had called me and said, hey, listen, you're going to get a phone call from New Zealand. Just answer it. And naturally, I missed the phone call, but they called back and I answered. It was David Hopkins from the Titans. The Titans are they've been around for a while, so they were the Expendables. So that's
Right.
basically who it is. Yeah. So and David's the man. He is. I love David. None of this is possible without David. He's the best. And so they gave me a phone call, and because I had played Chicago with the team from the Midwest. Like 2 weeks before Chicago is kind of when I jumped back into the sport, and that's when I met and I became friends with like Ronnie, and he's out in Chicago, and he was like,
Right.
"Listen, I got this team. Do you want to play?" So I said, "Sure," and that was a blast. We ended up getting third. I played D3. We ended up getting third, but it was a blast. I love
yeah.
playing with those guys. And I tried to do some other things out in Chicago, but I realized that I just don't want to go to Chicago all the time for
Yeah.
practices and whatnot. So
It's a big commitment.
it is, yeah. And it's just, I don't know. There's something about the Midwest. I'm from the East Coast. It's just different, And I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I feel like going out to blast camp or wherever they practice else out there, like all the time. So I end up just kind of staying in Myrtle Beach. And one day I got that phone call from David, and that's how it happened. And it's been great ever since. We've got a lot of things coming. So there's been some things already, but there's more coming.
Hell yeah. So if you don't mind me,
Wow.
what brought
Yeah.
you to Myrtle Beach? Was it, sorry, Waldo, was it like a job, or are you just looking for like a life change?
Taxes. That's it. Being from New Jersey, no. So yeah, I lived in New Jersey, and so after high school, I actually moved here, and
Okay.
it just, I don't know, it didn't sit well with me. Ironically, just didn't sit well with me. I was a firefighter in New Jersey, so I became a firefighter here, and the pay is just totally. I took a huge pay cut, and I was just alone, right? So I didn't really like it. And then I moved back to New Jersey, met my fiance, and then we moved in together, and she was looking at schools because she's going back to school, and there's a really good medical school here because she's a trauma nurse, so she's going back for like anesthesiology. So
Nice.
there's a good school down here. It's half the price. She went to Jefferson in Philly, and there's a good school down here, so we ended up making the move, and then I ended up getting out of the fire service. So now I have my own business, which allows me to. I don't know if you guys like on social media. I'm trying to post a lot more, and Chad and I go to the field like 5 days a week, so I kind of have that freedom to be able to do that now. So
Awesome.
life has come full circle. But
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
oh yeah, oh it's great. But Waldo, what were you gonna say?
Yeah.
So, I know you guys had a bunch of pickups. You guys had the two Wheeler brothers who
Yeah.
are from London. So there's you from
Mhm.
USA. There's like three guys from New Zealand, and then I think there's a Polish guy or something. on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
team.
Yakov,
Everyone's from
yeah.
all over.
Yeah, so I'll give a little backstory of like, last season, they won an event. They played three events really last year. Their first event, I think it was Dallas, or Texas, and they did not do very well. But there was a lot going on, and then they played California and they won, which is a crazy win because that Bobby was on their team, right? He was on their team, and that was like the whole situation. And then they went out and won the event, which was crazy. It was surreal.
Yeah.
So we had a few guys. We had Brandon on our team. He got picked up by Aftermath, and then we had Brian and Steven also on the team. They played cup with us. We lost them to Aftermath as well. So we're just getting plucked away pretty much, so that we kind of
right?
That's exactly it. So we kind of were left panicking a little bit. So we had to make some moves. So we try to actually do some really, really big things, but they kind of just didn't work out. So, but everything's a blessing in disguise. So then we ended up getting Jason and Jake from Great Britain. Jason, obviously, he's played pro before with Damage and the Russians, things like that. And his brother Jake is really good too. He's playing over in Britain. They play Pro Division for NXL Europe. And then we picked up Jakub from Poland. Jakub's awesome. There's a language barrier. He was my roommate in Cup, and it was interesting.
Right.
But he's funny. So I'm the only American now. Other than we picked up Brandon Short for our coach. And
That's
so
dope, though.
That's huge. We didn't have a coach at Cup, and it showed. We did not do nearly as well as we could have and as we should have. So we realized the most important thing. Obviously we need to fill the voids for the spots that we lost, but getting a coach is huge. So we,
especially like Brandon Short. What kind of like things is he trying to institute? Maybe right off the rip, like. Was there anything like right after he's like, it's going to be like this from now on, just so you guys know type situation?
He's been great so far. Once we picked him up, he pretty much established like, consistency and having like a legitimate system, right? Because our first event, all like the new era of the Titans was a little bit, was Cup, but we were just guys weren't able to make some practices until Thursday. So they get there the week beforehand. And, so not the whole team was together. It was just a little bit, it was a little messy. Just things didn't work out. So he kind of said, hey, no more of that. Like he knows what it takes to win. So he said,
more
hey,
dialed.
we're going to be dialed in, legitimate. He wants everyone training all the time, like anytime that they can. And, things along those lines. So he's been great so far, but I'm excited to see what happens this season. We are, David has a vision, right? He wants to win the pro spot this year. So he's going to do whatever it takes, and we're going to do whatever it takes. So yeah, we're coming for it. We want. It's a true international team, right? We have USA, we have Poland, New Zealand, we have Great Britain, things like that. So, outside of the Tauntauns, there's not very many pro teams that are truly from all over that are going to based out of another country, right? Obviously, we have the ones that are here now, like Heat. They have players from all over the place, but really based in another country, there's not many. So we're trying to become the next. See what happens. The semi-pro division is not going to be easy this year, though. So
no, man.
No, big heavy hitters.
PB Fit, Oology. There's so many, dude.
Blast Camp. They had, they didn't do too well in the Florida events, so they go and pick up two pro guys that are, good bona fide pro guys. So they're going to be fun to watch. But PB Fit too. I love those guys. Those guys are awesome, but they're always out there. I mean. That was our first match at Cup was PB Fit, and I was like, the first match as a new team together. Just no one better to have to deal with at 7
right off
morning.
the rip. Let's get it out the way. Let's see how it goes, baby.
And it was, it was fun. We had fun though. So I knew that, after that tournament, like those guys are amazing. So I said, you know what, I'm here to stay. Like these guys are awesome. And I had, a few other opportunities, but I wouldn't leave here for a lot of places. So I wouldn't leave.
No, dude, seems like you're super happy. And you were saying you were doing a lot of drills with like and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What were some of the drills you guys did most common drills, especially just being you two? Yeah,
so at the field, really, it's just us two for probably 90% of the time. There are a few other guys that come out, but we still do the same thing. So, he loves one-on-ones. He's the king for the one-on-ones, right? He won he won that whole thing. So we pretty much do a lot of that. And in the beginning, I know he wanted to see what I was all about, see if he could break me down. He put it on me quite a bit, but we had fun. I mean, there's days where it's 90 degrees outside, because it's hot and humid here, but we would do like 30 one-on-ones, and just go nonstop. But we do a lot of that, and just a lot of like off the break snap shooting, really stressing like your first shot has to count.
Right.
Because that's really the difference maker when players work up the divisions. It's not only the IQ, but the shots are always there. The lanes are always dialed in. Like people don't generally miss. So we really just work on that like a lot. And I've seen just my snap shooting just from working with him it's night and day compared to what it was. Obviously I had some time off, but he really puts me through the ringer pretty much 5 days a week. So
yeah, when you're going against somebody like that, you'll learn real quick, boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's not going to take it easy. He's going to put it on you.
No, because he's trying to get that work in too. He also has
works
to get
hard.
better.
He works hard. He has all sorts of reasons for chips on his shoulder that he has. He sets goals and all things like that. So he's coming, and I'm just happy that I have the availability to be there, all the time with him. And we pretty much have a private field essentially, so we can do anything we want. And it's awesome.
No, that's got to be awesome to have him like access to him like that, especially seeing he's such a great work ethic is good to hear, because like he's such a great team or anything, but they haven't really won an event in a minute. So
yeah, they
got to stay hungry.
You have to. That's really it. And this season, to their standards, did not go how they wanted to.
I'm sure.
And so they're definitely going to come back with a vengeance next year. They're going they're hungry. I can tell. I can feel it, especially just how he's acting. He knows, right? So they're going to come back, and especially with all the changes that have happened in the pro division. The teams are not what they were just a few months ago. So we'll see.
No, I know this is your podcast. I'm trying to focus on you, but I'm really excited for the first event. All these shakeups, really excited to see how it goes down.
Oh, dude, yeah, let's talk about it. Like, there's been so much, right? It's just crazy. The past couple of weeks have been crazy with players supposedly going to one team, going to another team, big contracts. It's good for the sport, honestly. I think it is.
It really is.
The movement. I think it'll be really good, especially with AC Diesel making. Now on paper, they're a top team.
Another good team. Right. That's why I found it so interesting that Alex was bugging out, because like, bro, your team is still so good. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's
like, you lose Spica, but I mean,
he didn't give a shit about Spica. He gave a shit
I think it was about Dalton.
Dalton.
Yeah.
He
Spica got
because Dalton was the best D side player all of last year. Spica barely played. That's like, okay, you lost your bench. Nobody cares about that, dude. You
got to pony up with the money then.
Yeah.
Who is the best D-side player in the world. Yeah, you care.
Yeah, Dalton's going to be hard to replace. We'll see what happens.
Sure.
Maybe they have something up their sleeve. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. It's Dynasty. They always make it worse. Yeah, there's big numbers being thrown around, so it's hard to compete.
Which is good for paintball, finally. Like, everyone always
the
talks about the numbers.
Damien was like in the Spectre show. He's like, wait, everyone's getting paid?
Yeah, Damien caught some heat for no reason. I watched it.
Oh, for Bear.
Yeah, Bear was going out. I was just, he was just sitting there all of a sudden, just catching out of left field, catching heat. I was like, oh man. I mean, he's on the show.
Bear, though, like he's like, I have no idea who Bear is. The Bear's like, I have no idea who you are. You should know who I am.
And they were going at it. I loved it. I mean, it was good. It was good content, though. As Kyle was trying to get, I think, a lot of information out. He was just so passionate. I don't think he could actually spit some of the information out. He was trying to talk about so much that he couldn't focus on like one thing. And then right off the rip, him and Alex kind of getting into it. It's kind of funny. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
Alex called them right out, so I like that stuff. It's
right.
That's how it should be. But that's the truth. Like, we shouldn't hide these conversations. If you want to say it, just say it. And they have a podcast. They have a platform for it, so might as well make it interesting. I guess do it.
Dude, right, 1,000%. You got the mic that everyone's listening to, man.
Might as well just throw it out there, because there's so much. There's been a lot of, because the NXL's done a lot this year, like with changing the practices, right? So practices to one weekend is like something that was a hot topic for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I
would say still is.
Yeah, I think so. I personally, just because the team I play on, I love it because
Right.
we never practiced 2 weeks beforehand. They only came the week before, and we practiced that whole week. So now it kind of evens the playing field out a little bit for us as a team. But I mean, if people don't think, I think that one of their arguments for it was that some teams are now going to have more of an advantage, essentially. Um, but regardless of the situation, if people don't think that the top teams, the ones that have funding, aren't on the field 7 days a week when there's layouts, I mean, they're on the field all the time. No matter what, no matter how many
Yeah.
days, like they're going to get 7 days, and then unfortunately, there's going to be teams that can't do that. That's just the nature of the beast across every division.
All right. But there's so many things that like out of team's control. Like especially us being in the Northeast. Like, dude, what are you gonna do if it rains during a layout
Yeah.
weekend? Like,
That's exactly it. And
You're gonna play and
I mean,
get hypothermia.
yeah, well, that's something I could touch on. Like, I'm coming up. Like I said, I'm coming for the Eagles game, and I'm going to LLP on Saturday to play, just to get. I love playing paintball, so I'm gonna go there and play
hell yeah.
on Saturday. And it's supposed to be freezing, but it's 65 here right now. So it's like I've never missed a day to bad weather here. It does rain sometimes, but we don't have to deal with the cold really. It does get a little chilly, but not really like what it is in the Northeast, what I'm used to. So
Yeah.
like we don't skip days. We don't miss days because there's ice or snow on the ground, and it's just miserable to get dressed in the morning. Like that doesn't happen, which is nice. But some teams, especially the Midwest, that's miserable out there. I don't. The winters out there.
That's why you didn't go. That's why you didn't want to go out there.
Yeah, I went out, and it was October, I think, the last time I went out there, and Ronnie and I went to the field. And it was like my blood thinned out a little bit since I moved down south. It was like 38 degrees, and I was just miserable. I didn't even want to get dressed. I got dressed in the car with the heat on. Like it was just, and it's really not even that bad, all considering some of the temperatures. But I was like, man. And now it's like 4 degrees, and these kids are out there playing.
Like I said, when you're saying that, just remind me back like a couple weeks ago, it was like 20 degrees out here, and like I had a bruise on my leg because I hip slid to the corner, and like
Yeah.
the ground was just hard as fucking rock, man.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's kind of miserable. I don't miss that. I don't miss that at all. Actually,
Wasn't great.
No, I can't say it feels good. I've seen some, and there's some fields. New Jersey and New York, that whole area have. There's an abundance of fields, right? With
Yeah.
Quick Shot and LLP being the nicer fields. Quick Shot's always been really nice, honestly. When I first played it, the grass was unbelievable, and now it looks amazing. It's totally changed, right? Yeah,
because now
nice.
it's down the way, and that's where I run my X-Ball tournaments.
Yeah,
so
and it's crazy,
really
right?
nice.
It's growing. That's the biggest thing. But then there's a couple fields in New York. I'm not going to name any names, but they're brutal. One's a dirt fest.
Any field on Long Island is brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say that.
Yeah, I've when I would go play with the Bears on Long Island, I took Quick Shot and Playground for granted, because when I went up there, I was like, no way, you're diving on rocks.
Yeah.
It's
I got to be
crazy.
nice because I only have 2 choices. So, but yeah, it's not great. There are days it's not great. I'm gonna say it's not great.
Hey, that'll build character real fast, I guess. That's the way I'll put it.
That's what they tell me.
That's it. Yeah, but I mean, and then you go to some other fields. They're so nice. So it's nice that you're able to run that league in a really nice field and keep it going, right? Because there's been some turnover with leagues in the tri-state area, right? So if we can get a couple leagues that are really steady, and right now I feel like you have the TSXL, the NRPL, or like some of the local regional events that are just they're steady. Yeah, they're getting bigger and bigger. But you do it right. You have a webcast, and I know other leagues do the webcast. Like that stuff that might seem small to some people will attract a lot of players. Because people, they want to be seen. They want to see themselves. They want to see themselves play paintball. They want to hear people talk about them, and let's be real. That's exactly what people want. And if it's a nice field, it's a well-run tournament. Like, yeah, it's perfect.
That's what I like as the player going there. Like the fact that the field is just literally so nice. It's really well maintained. Everything is set up. Like the pits are right against the field, so when you're in the pits, you can still watch all the games. The way everything is set up, it's really nice.
Yo, speaking of good fields, hold on one sec. There's a place I just saw my boy went to. He's visiting Thailand, Dude, this
Beautiful.
place it's like a Pattaya paintball or something. It's
Mhm.
literally like clean as could be, like,
Yep.
and then
Wait, was this where Luke was? Okay.
dude,
Yeah, that place
it's
looked
just
clean as fuck.
like
Mhm.
plexiglass like around the whole field, around the whole one side of the field, so you could like see in. All the rest
Yeah.
players could see in. A
Mhm.
nice tower where they're gonna do the live stream. They're gonna do the Thai Expo League there, which I gotta talk to my boy on Team Philippines, because we were supposed to go to Malaysia. I think we should just go to
Oh,
Thailand and play over
hey,
there. I got the
there's
invite.
been hey, listen, do it because there's been opportunities that have opened up since I've played, now with the Titans for traveling, and I really want to take it up. And everyone says go do it, and especially if there's
Yeah,
a nice
100%.
field like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, all like that's be awesome to go to.
Dude, 1,000%. Any of them jump out? Like, were there any? Sorry, Waldo. Were there any ones that like jump out at you where you're like, "Ooh, man, I actually am really interested in going there."
Yeah, so I've had like a couple NXL Europe opportunities, and then the Super Sevens. I kind of want to do the Super Sevens because I think Australia would be awesome. Sydney would be amazing. With the NXL Europe, I think it's just their dates aren't super close to like our NXLs, but there's just a lot going on, so those dates just aren't. They didn't like coincide too well with like my personal life and things like that. I wouldn't mind doing like the championship though. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's in Britain. Maybe I'll be out there. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. But the Super Sevens for sure kind of intrigued me. Go back to 15 balls a second and
Ripping.
just mow people down. Be interesting. I know Chad George from he goes out. He plays the Eskimo Brothers there, so we'll see
Yeah, a
what
lot of pros go
happens.
over there.
Yeah, it's fun. Everyone has good
They
things
used
to
to a
say.
lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's changed. Obviously, I think once COVID hit, things kind of fizzled out, but they're kicking back up. But there's some really nice fields. I know the Titans, they own a field, Arena Paintball in New Zealand, and I'm so jealous. It's one of the nicest fields I've ever seen. They just redid it too, and they're sending pictures and videos, and it's oh my god, it's amazing. They spent a lot of money on it, but it is.
They do a
You're like,
lot for the scene over there,
Yeah, they're
from what I've
huge. They're
ever seen.
huge. Yep, they're huge in New Zealand. Especially with that field, that shop there, and that team. They're the big boys, I guess, in New Zealand. I don't know too much about it now. I do, but before then, I didn't. I knew who they were, but yeah, it's huge. It's like I guess when they come over here, everyone talks about the New Zealanders here naturally, and then now that there's a couple Americans on the team, it's like totally different over there. You would think we're like superstars or something, but no, it's not. People always ask, especially with Brandon Short. When we picked up Short,
Yeah.
we got so many messages. It was huge.
Yeah, no,
I
he's
mean,
a
he
good
is Brandon
coach.
Short.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's great. He's awesome. He's been great so far. Just helping us out with everything. Especially, we're sponsored by HK, so they've been great.
I was
It's a
about
good
to
combo.
ask. I was like, was that like a package deal?
It's so in turn, I guess it wasn't by design, but it just ended up being that way. We were with HK first, so we got connected with HK. They gave us the opportunity to come play under them, and then like
Mhm.
shortly after, we had a team meeting one night, and we were like, hey, we need a coach. And I was like, myself and Jason were like, hey, let's make a phone call real fast. So we reached out, and one thing led to another. He said yes, and everything got worked out. So he's on board for the year because we've lost some guys recently. So we were kind of like, we didn't want that to happen mid-season, right? Somebody leave, especially the coach. So he's been
Right.
great so far. So we'll see. You see what happens. Hopefully, I'm not getting yelled at too much. I feel like I probably will be, but let's hope not.
Right. But you were touching on it a little bit before, but like you said, with people being literally all over the world, how are you guys trying to set up practices? You're meet up in one central location. You kind of said maybe they're going to meet like the event the week before and fly out
Yep.
there, but how are you guys trying to set this up?
Yeah, so it's definitely tough to get talking. I spend many late nights, early mornings because they are a day ahead of us. So they're in the future, but they're also 6 hours behind, like on the normal day. So right now it's just kind of lunchtime there, just after lunchtime. So when they're done work, it's usually 2 a.m. here. So I have to stay up if we want to do stuff.
Oh,
So yeah, it's
that-
rough
that's
sometimes.
brutal.
It is, yeah. But I mean, I'm up anyway. I'm always up doing something. But Yeah, so us getting kind of organized was tough, especially with our guys like Jason, out in London and stuff like that. That's also a totally different time zone as well. So we got
Right.
and then Jakob in Poland,
Well,
totally
yeah.
different time zones. So there's 4 different time zones that we have to try and make work. And there's about 2 hours per day from like 4 to 6 p.m. where it's kind of okay for everybody. One person's it's like early morning, so it kind of gets crazy. But so that kind of coincides right to practices. So what they'll do is everybody will fly in the Thursday before. So well, now it'll be 2 weeks or the week prior. Sorry.
Okay.
So they'll land in Thursday, and like for the Florida events, so Cup and the first event, we go to Tiki's. At least now we do. Tiki's has been great. We played there. We practiced. We had a really good practice before Cup, so we're gonna
I'll
go
be there in
there.
a week.
Really? Yeah. Are you playing ICPL?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to play that, but I've never played mech before, so
So much fun.
everyone.
Yeah.
That's what everyone says. They're like, "Yo, you're missing out," and I was like, "Oh well, maybe this season I'll try. I'll find. We shoot Luxes, so I'll see if I can get a mech frame and get on in there, see what happens." But yeah, we're gonna go down to Tiki's and we'll practice. So everyone lands Thursday, and then we'll do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well.
Yeah, as much as you can.
Yeah, we'll take maybe Monday off. It depends on what the other teams are doing, or we'll do like something more private with just us and another team, kind of just dissecting the field.
I
But
think Russian Legion's down there too now.
yeah, the
So
Russians are there. So yeah, when we for Cup we got spins. It was with the Latin Saints, the Russians, and Heat. And then one of Tiki's teams, like their D2 team, was in there as well. So it was a good practice, but we also didn't have our full team, and that was one of the situations.
Yeah.
Kind of detrimental to the team a little bit, but I mean, people have real life things, so naturally, not everyone can make it. So we didn't get any practices with our full team. Our first time all playing together was 7 a.m. on, I think it was Friday, because Thursday kind of was a wash, but
Yeah.
Right.
it was interesting. We kind of got off to a slow start, but it didn't go the way we wanted, but it's okay.
Well, that happens when you don't practice, right?
That's yeah. We could, and especially both guys were our snake guys, so we had no. I mean, now I can say because it's not like I'm hiding any advantage. But like we didn't, we didn't even at practice. I mean, we were playing teams like he and the Russians, and we didn't even play the snake. Like we didn't touch the snake at all. We sent no one over there. We did not even attempt it, and we got burned by the snake every single time. But we said screw it, just whatever, because they were only snake guys. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm too slow. I can't do that.
I am not him.
No, I played the snake last weekend at practice just against random kids, and I said, "There's no way I can do this." I said, "I don't know how guys do it," because I was hurting.
It's never the moment for me as a 35-year-old dude. Like while the game is playing, I'm like, "Oh, the snake guy, dude, yeah, I'll get in and crawl." It's like the next day where I'm like super sore. I'm like, "Yo, why did I fucking?"
Yeah, my elbows were like bleeding. They were like, I was so sore. I was like, "This was a terrible idea." And then I'll probably just end up there next weekend anyway. But
welcome to paintball. It's how it happens.
That's that. Yeah, usually because we'll line up and somebody will say, "Oh, I don't want to do it," and I'll say, "All right, it's not a layout practice. I'll just do it. Whatever." So that's usually what happens. It's rough, but that's where we're at. But now we have another guy from London that Jason brought over to play the snake. So his name is Rory. He's a young guy. We were shooting for somebody. But we brought Rory over. He's young. He's only 19, so he can just go. And then we have another guy, Tom, on our team. He's coming back from an ACL tear, so he's going to get back into the grind. And those are our 2 snake guys. So we'll let the young bucks go, have their fun over there.
Yeah, get to work.
That's right. Brandon played the snake, so he knows a thing or two about that. So he can definitely mold them into whatever he wants to mold them into.
Yeah, he might have a solid tip or two.
That's right. Yeah, and then Jason's he'll play the D side, and I'll go up the middle and get shot a lot. So that's my job.
Such is the life of a middle player. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a clip somewhere floating around the internet. It's when we played Paintball Fit, and I ran through the middle, and I probably got shot 30 times. But
so makes
that's
you
the
feel
price
alive,
you pay.
baby.
Yeah, I got the guy, so it didn't matter. I said I know it's going to happen right now. But okay, thanks Colt for tearing me apart. I know who it was. But no, it was fun. So let's hope. I don't know. I wasn't a fan. If we can talk about like layouts for a little bit, right? So
For sure, man.
I was not a fan of the middle. I liked it, but then I hated it. When it came out, the
Yeah.
middle for cup at least, right? Because they brought back kind of like the wall.
Right, that old school big ass W wall.
Yeah, and when I saw it the first time, I was like, "This is the best." And then I quickly was like, "I hate this so much," because it was very just. I don't know. I feel like it creates a one-dimensional
Yeah,
aspect to the middle play. Because you just if once you hear that call out, it's like the W's back. You just trade and then that's it.
for
I
sure.
like
It's such a big threat that you gotta eliminate it right away.
exactly, and if you don't, you're behind the 8 ball, right? But
Mhm.
and it does create some good moments on the field, right? There's some, especially at Cup, distortion specifically. There were some really spicy matches, but
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of stemmed from that, which I love. I love that stuff. I love the violence. I love there's no overshooting penalties. To an extent, I love that. I think
Me
it's
too.
great.
We gotta lean into more what people want to see. Like I feel like everyone always talks shit on, like the NYX, like the loader dump and all that nonsense. But
Yeah.
like that's what everybody really wants to see. Like let's be
It is.
real. Same thing with football. Any other sports, it's celebrating. You get a first down. The dudes with the ball, like that.
Yeah, the NFL's kind of taking the fun out of it, and the paintball can really be a spectator sport. Like we can really be. It's you don't have to entirely know exactly what's going on for it to be entertaining. If you just knew nothing about paintball, showed up to the
Facts.
field one day, right? And that kind of stuff, the shit talking, the overshooting, I don't know, it makes it like it's different in football. You can't always hear the shit talking, right? Because they do a lot, but you do see it sometimes after the
Oh yeah.
play, right? But in paintball, even if you knew nothing about the sport or sports in general, and you see some guy just get clapped up, 20 times, you hear it. He's like, I don't know. Hopefully, I'm not that guy, but it's nice. It's good for the sport, I think.
Everyone
Sorry.
loves to see the paintball flinch when you get shot up for it, and you get. Ugh.
Yeah, you got to do that. Yeah, that's exactly. I try and run just the opposite direction as fast as possible. I don't even want to give myself time to just get destroyed, but it happens.
Don't give them the satisfaction of letting you see like that.
No,
Yeah,
I
facts.
don't. I can't. Like I've been. I forget who we were playing. It was Ruthless Factory. It was at Cup, and they shot myself and one other guy like off the field, and then
Mm.
I played the Doritos in the middle, but I was up in the Doritos, and I got shot out, and I walked all the way around. I had the walk of shame, and I got shot the whole way, but I just had to act like it. It
Nothing
sucked.
happened.
Yeah,
Yep.
nothing happened. I was, hey,
Mhm.
listen, I get it. Whatever. We beat them like 6-1, so we really got the last laugh, but
Right.
it was just funny, I didn't mind it, but that kind of stuff's good for the sport. It's
No,
entertaining.
for sure.
I think
know
it's
that-
the Northeast type of vibe. Honestly, sometimes it's just like, dude, I've dealt with way worse in practice. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna eat it and get back at you at the next point.
That's the mentality. That's the mentality I have. I've seen some videos of like tournaments around our country, maybe in the South somewhere, or there's kids that they don't even run somebody down to like touch them on the back and say, "Hey, man, get out." And I
What
would
is this?
fully,
A big game?
yeah, I would fully expect someone to put like 2 in the back of my head.
Dude,
Just,
that happened. That happened one time at LLP. This girl came down and surrendered. Rebecca, her name's Rebecca Harris. Whatever. Her husband takes pictures, Monty, and then it was Ryan Marquette, and she was just like, "Yo, get out!" And he just was like, turned and just ripped her apart. And and they were like, "That's what you get for being nice."
Yeah, you can't be nice.
Trots over and grabs flag. And
You can't be nice. I always tell people, there was a kid last week who I played the snake, and then I got ran down naturally, and I stood up and took like 2 in the back of the head. And he felt so bad after the game. He came over, was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." I was like, "I deserved it. I was still on the field. Like, just let it happen. You're good."
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna do it to you, so just do it back to me. It's whatever. Like, it happens.
No, exactly.
It's the
'Cause
sport.
I'm with you like that. Like it doesn't bother me, but like I love when it bothers the other people because that's what I get off on doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also like it can play into a strategy, right, during the match. If you know that they can't handle it or they don't like that,
With how mental paintball is, dude.
yeah, there are teams that play that are really good too, and if you just give them a few extra, like they will implode because they can't handle it, and it shows. It shows sometimes, and it's crazy, but Yeah, back to like that, like the entertainment aspect of it. Like you mentioned MYX too.
Right.
Like yeah, they always had their like I don't want to call them gimmicks in a way that they're gimmicky, but like that was their
Right.
thing, right? Dumping the paint and whatever. I think it lost some of its edge because they weren't doing as well. So
Yeah.
people kind of
I
got
agree.
old. Yeah, which I mean, I get. If you're gonna talk shit, don't do it when you're down like 1-4 or something, 1-5, right?
Dude, 1,000%. And not to bring up football again, but right. No one likes to see the guy celebrating when you're down fucking like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, or like the cornerback, who the quarterback will overthrow the wide receivers covering by like 20 yards, and the cornerback starts celebrating, but like you didn't do anything.
You didn't do
You
anything.
didn't. It's like the same concept.
Exactly.
I try to be even keeled throughout the game. I don't let any emotions, but there's always the guys on the team that can bring it up, and I don't know. I feel like I play better if I'll show emotion on the field, but like after that, like I don't really talk shit. I'll just do it with my gun usually, and
Me too. I'm kind of like I'm kind of always in my own head.
yeah, that's just how I used to be. Not like a hothead, but I used to be a hothead. I used to really get amped up and things like that, but it just doesn't make you play better. At least didn't make me play better. Some guys feed off of it.
Right.
Me too. Like some dudes really need that, but like as for me, like I said, like Waldo knows he's like coached me so many times, but like you can honestly rip me apart and it doesn't matter because in my own mind, I've already defecated on myself like 40,000 times. Like,
That's
'cause
a,
I
yeah,
know I made that mistake and I've already like, but meanwhile, outside, I'm probably just sitting there looking at my cleats or whatever, you know?
yeah. So, and sometimes I'm the same way. Sometimes it hurts me a little bit because people think like I don't care or something, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like just fix it internally and then take in the information that people are giving me. I try to I have a unique perspective when it comes to like playing paintball, especially when I'm playing the middle, and that's where I wanted to go with like the layouts, right? I
Mhm.
miss the
Right.
layouts
That's
that
how
had
this
the
whole thing started 40
yeah,
minutes
it was
later. With
yeah,
the layout question.
like the I don't know. I really like the weird layouts where the middle's got 4 or 5 different bunkers, and it makes people think, right? You can really get some sneaky moves up there. Now, sometimes it does create a stalemate, but if you can get sneaky, that's how I like to play. Like
No,
the
I
I
like when they're not like touching. It's like how World Cup was like pretty much like a big giant W, where there's like
yeah.
little cheeky angles where you could still kind of get clapped in, but
Yep.
still make like big moves if you're trying to be offensive.
Exactly. Yeah, Chicago was kind of the same way. You could go right to their side of the field. I mean, Cup had the same thing. You could go to their side of the field off the break too, but
Right.
Chicago was a little bit like that. And I don't know. I like the high IQ plays that come through the middle, or even the Dorito side, because that's mostly where I play. Like, I like that stuff. So I kind of wish that they would bring back that and maybe not use every bunker in their bunker, lineup.
Yep.
I
Right.
don't think they have to use every bunker. I'm not a huge fan of like the 50 brick at Cup on the Dorito side. It was just this massive brick that blocked a
Yeah.
whole bunch of stuff out. It made it
The bunkers are too
difficult.
big. I'm just gonna fucking say it. There's too many wedges. The bunkers are too big, man.
Yeah, it was great to see the mini wedge we used for like a snake corner at Cup was a nice
Yeah.
touch, right? Because it was you could still live in there, but it's not like you can just relax. You still have to be kind of cognizant of what's going on. So I
Right.
kind of like those things. I don't know. There's a lot of things they can do. I'm sure Tom Cole and their whole crew has tons of plans. They always have something going on.
Right. But I do like that he's trying new stuff. They were talking about this. I wanted to play the games, but like, he's not staying stagnant, regardless of whether you like the 1 week layout rule or don't like it. It's something new,
Hmm.
He's
Yeah,
not just sitting on his hands like, well, guess what? I'm still making money and you guys are still
yeah.
attending. So
You got to change it up, right? And like you said, some people hate it, some people love it, but you're never going to please everyone. You're never going
never.
to please everyone. If you do please everyone, I don't know what you figured out, but let me know because I want some of
Yeah,
that.
give me a
But
call. Give me a
yeah,
call.
Yeah,
Let's speak it.
exactly.
exactly. You never, especially with paintball. I think paintball's its own worst enemy sometimes, with people just being.
Dude, if I
mi-
get 50% of people liking it, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, yeah, you run with it, so you
Right.
get it completely, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy with that. I think him really adding or changing the layout time. I was kind
Yeah.
of happy. I didn't mind the blind layouts, um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. He had a pretty good kind of reasoning for going away from it. Um, and
Right.
when it comes down to it, this is a business. So if you have a blind layout, then these big fields or even small fields rather, they can't hold practices, right? They're not getting that huge income, and so I kind of think maybe it would hurt the whole paintball economy to an extent.
Right.
Because now you don't have teams coming out wanting, they're still going to practice the weekend before. Some teams might not because they might just wing it, but you're not getting those mega practices. I feel like if you just do a blind layout.
Right. I like that it gave the 1 week and didn't just like almost cold turkey it.
Yeah,
Because
he met in the
LLP's gonna
middle.
be popping that 1 week, dude.
yeah.
They used to be at like 25 teams and like nobody would get any field time. Now, for that 1 week, I don't even know. There's gonna be like random obscure fields getting business now. I think.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is that's gonna think about how good it is for all the fields in the local area. Because say like LLP is popping, like other people are not to say that Battle Creek won't be, but then you'll see more teams at Battle Creek and
Cousins, High by wherever.
Because Straza doesn't care. Straza's gonna have his 4 or 5 teams, and it's closed off practice, and
He's got to get the Padres their reps.
Right, but you know what I mean. Like, there's so many
he's
other
gonna make sure
fields in that
Padres
area.
get 4,000 reps, and the Immortal Kings are gonna get 0.
Right.
No, that's the truth though. I don't know. I think it's interesting, but I haven't been to LLP in years, and I'm going like on Saturday. So I'm curious to see if there's even going to be people out there. I don't know. Maybe I'll just show up.
They have a tryout
on Saturday. They have a tryout.
No, I think Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Yeah, and then
I'm not trying out, but
at Quick Shot, the women's pro teams having a tryout both days. So
I'll go to that. I'll go. Maybe I'll make a team. I'll see if I can make that.
Maybe you should just put a wig on.
I was gonna say.
I'll put a wig on, see what happens. Get pieced up a little bit. You never know what's gonna happen. That's good. That's good that they're like also with the WNXL, like that's expanding because there is
more paintball.
More paintball is good. If they want to have an ultimate goal, right? With I know like Netflix was at Cup, right? They wanted to get that outside exposure.
Yeah,
they're going to need to be able to accommodate everybody and really have a platform for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I know if they want to try and get it to the Olympics, right? That's always like a goal. That's been a goal forever, but that's like a step in the right direction. Yeah. That's the step in the right direction, I guess. If they're going to try it, if there's an initiative to make the sport better, and if that's it, that's great. Whatever there is, there needs to be an initiative because it's just better for us.
Dude, 1,000%. Same thing about the gambling, and I forget if it was FanDuel or whatever.
Gambling's huge
coming in.
Yeah,
but so huge. I mean, more money in the sport will just be so much better. Finally, give hopefully players that that big dream of when I go pro, maybe I'll get paid.
That's really it, right? Especially
trying to make paintball's that folklore.
Yeah, like and paintball. Regardless of how we want to see it, like in my mind, I play it. Like I love paintball. I think it's big, but it's not that big, right? In the grand scheme of things. So like that's just one of the ways that we can grow it. Is gambling is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not surprised it took this long because it's not like it took a long time. But you can gamble on like pro cornhole. Like you can gamble on anything, and if we can get alternative sports like that. Right? Or like there's speed walking in the Olympics and on ESPN. Like, why can't paintball be on there? I think we can get a better a better kind of, I don't know. If we could get more exposure, that's huge because it's just going to put more money into the sport and the pro teams are going to reap the benefits the most, right? But
1,000%.
Let's be real. That's who makes people want to come. They obviously watch divisional games too, but the 4 teams aren't lining up to sign autographs and things like that. It's the pro guys, maybe some semi-pro teams. With this year, I don't know, and there might be a whole pro roster playing semi-pro at this point. Some of the things I've seen is just unbelievable.
100%. I mean, close to it at least.
It's unbelievable. I was like, man, David had his plan of he has a plan. I'm like, well, your plan got harder, but that's good. I like the challenge, but it's good because. We still get the webcasts and stuff for semi-pro. So if that can be as entertaining as possible with as high level as possible, that's good.
Shout out to the Premier Field, man.
That's right. Yeah. Shout out. They do a good job there. Let's Talk Paintball. He's always representing it. He's out there. Yeah. He's always on there. He's dedicated, which I love, right? Getting other guys to even like, they can go and they'll talk for a match or whatever. Just getting people to do more things. I think it's awesome.
Dude, we just get more people to talk about the sport, dude.
It's something. It's always hard to I own my own business, right? So I own a home inspection company, and when I have to take off or tell my realtors or clients that, like, I can't do it from this day to this day when they ask, and I tell
Why?
them I play paintball, and they look at me like I'm a 12-year-old kid or just
Yeah.
like a weirdo. They're like, "You
Uh-huh.
travel for that?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's people that make a living doing this," and they're like, "What do you mean?"
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Yeah, like they get paid quite a bit, some of them to play because it's more than you think. We don't just run around in the woods."
I'll
Right.
show you the Dalton deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see something crazy? I'll just watch this podcast real fast.
Right.
You
That's what
know,
I
you'll
love about like the gambling and stuff, because every step towards like that being every pro player is just so
yeah.
much better.
hmm
'Cause then you could sell the dream. And that's what as soon as you could sell the dream, I think that's when it's gonna become so much more like legitimate.
Yeah, kids are really gonna want to. They're gonna want to show up. They're gonna want to put the
Mhm.
work in and get that exposure. I mean, in the pro division, there's 2 or 3 teams that are pretty stagnant with their rosters, but they don't. I mean, that's no fault of their own. Good for them for building a star-studded roster where you don't have to pick people up. But
Right.
if you can sell that dream more and more and more younger kids are going to come and try harder to play and get better, you're going to see
And the
more
better
influx.
athletes too.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
people that maybe don't even love paintball, but are just a fucking good athlete are gonna
They
be like,
can
"Yo, I'll
learn.
play," and they'll learn it, and then you'll see these dudes flying around the field making these insane moves that look like, everyone's
Yeah,
gonna look like Keith Brown.
that's exactly right. Though he's so fast, he's
So
unbelievable. It's
fast.
it's
And he's
crazy.
in such good shape. I'd
Yeah,
never wear a
it's
shirt if I were him ever.
no, it's crazy. There's so many guys that are like Fedorov's like one of those guys
Federer.
too.
Yeah.
I had the luxury of like when we practiced them for cup, and that's really the first time I got to like spend a lot of time playing against him. It was just different. It's just
Yeah.
different. But like that's a true athlete who can play paintball. I don't think paintball's you have to put in the work to get better, but if you are
Right.
already just a raw athlete,
It's
you're gonna
elite.
excel. And
Right.
there's a lot of kids doing that. And if we sell, like you said, sell that dream, there's gambling, there's money. We see these guys getting paid a little bit more. And then these kids now they're playing D5 or D4 and they want to put in the work. And then I guess what's a high tide raises all ships.
Oh,
Everyone's
ships.
going to get better, right? Everyone's going to
Right?
start playing more, get better because no one's going to want to get beat. And then I think the sport is trending in a really good direction.
Dude, right? Because even think about, let's say, like our local area alone. Let's just say all pro players were paid like even a minimum salary. Then you see Robbie at the field or Nick Cerrone and be like, I could be that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it kind of makes him. I mean, I want the pro guys to feel like, and they did even when I was younger, right? They're like superstars, right? That's
Yeah.
in our
To
own
us
world.
though, that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah,
It's only to us.
yeah. And that's I wish they could be like that to everyone. I think more
Hmm.
exposure is better. But then if you see a guy like that and he's got a little bit of a high profile, and you see him putting in the work, like you said, at your local field, then the kids are going to see that and they're going to mimic that. They're going to mimic their
1,000%.
idols always, right? So you're going to see kids, doing more and more. I mean, even at my field, like we have myself and yeah, we're good, we're talented, right? Like
Mhm.
I stink, but it's okay, like
I'm getting better. I'm trying.
yeah, people don't even want to come out and play with us. Like they don't even care. I'm like, this is crazy that
Yeah.
if this I don't know, if I was younger and I lived 8, 10, 15 minutes from a field and there was, a semi-pro guy and a pro guy and other guys playing there, I would be there as much as
Right.
possible.
They would probably
Right.
think I'm annoying. That's how much I'd be around them.
Yeah, yeah, and no one shows up. But I mean, no fault to their own. People do have like real life shit. I'm just lucky that I make my own schedule.
Right.
So I
That's
have
what
the
makes it hard.
ability.
Like, it's so tough to call yourself a professional athlete and then you got to go clock in at 9 a.m. on Monday, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to like you have another full time job. And I think there's more and more players who are not having to do that anymore. But that's the direction
Yep.
I think we want to go. But it's like I don't know. There's even semi pro players now that probably could quit their jobs now because they're getting funded quite a
Right.
bit.
Right.
That's like one
Which
of the great things about like social media and stuff like that, and
yeah.
Facebook and that, like, people are really being able to support themselves just for fucking like making reels and shit, which is
Yeah,
still
I mean,
blows
I'm
my
trying to.
mind, but it's
Yeah,
so good.
that's it. Like I was never big on social media, and then I've been slowly starting to try and like grow a brand or do something, right? Because
Hmm.
you you want to be able to have that brand for yourself. Like you want to be able to people see you and know who you are, right? That you've never met before, things like that, and
That's
it's
the
kind of
best.
crazy. Yeah,
That's
and
the
there's
best when they know your name and you don't know who
yeah.
they are.
Yeah, no
At
one
all.
knows who I am. I had to wear a Matt Kling jersey at Cup. No one even knew I existed, right? I didn't have a jersey. I had to wear a Matty Kling jersey. So everyone thought it was Matty Kling.
Do you know whatever happened to that kid?
No, I have
ever
no
say
clue. I think it just kind of, he was going to play and then just couldn't, right?
Mhm.
So the last second, so I don't know what happened, but I have a jersey hanging in my closet of jerseys. So it's just another edition. So we'll see. But I do have one this year, so that's good. But yeah, I don't know what happened there. But I didn't even know he was gonna. I didn't know until like I think it was Sunday that he was even supposed to play with us. Obviously, I saw the jersey, but I thought like maybe he played with them in the past and they had like an extra one.
Right.
And they were like, no, he was supposed to be here, but like it didn't work out. I was like, oh well,
Oh.
I'm
Yeah,
here now,
because he
so
was
that's all that matters.
on the team, like Expendables. I remember him on the
Yeah.
Expendables, and then he went to Dynasty. And never really got to play, and then he like been out of paintball or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think so. I think I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. I know. Yeah, he played for the Expendables, and I mean, Expendables was New Zealand meets Dynasty pretty much, right? They were pretty much
Yeah.
half and half, and but that's like that's growing the sport internationally too, right? So not only did David and those guys have Dynasty guys over, right? So
Mm.
they get exposure, but now you have players from different countries that get exposure, and one got picked up, playing for Dynasty. Regardless of how much he did play, he still got picked up, right? So
Right.
there's kind of that, I guess you could say, transition of international players kind of coming over here. New ones, right? There's obviously
Right.
there's plenty that are already in, but was it Nick
Right.
Ripple got picked up by the
I was just about to
Hurricanes?
say by the Canes. Yep.
He's so good. I love that
That's
guy. He's
sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
He came out, showed out at tryouts. I'm assuming he got picked up, but that's good for the sport. Them getting him, and they had a really good year last year too. But them picking up another guy, now he gets that exposure. So we'll see. Hopefully that keeps happening.
All right, I think it will. Dude, the better athletes we get, it's going to be better. I love the trajectory paintball is going, to be honest.
Yeah, there's when you have 19-year-olds. I mean, anybody can be good at any age, but like we have this Rory kid, 19 years old. Apparently he's a stud, and I've never met him yet, but I've seen the videos. He's like so fast. These kids are such better athletes. At 19, I wasn't doing anything. I was just hanging out.
Yeah.
I wasn't like they're in the gym for this, and that's awesome. Now I have to because I have to keep up, right? But like,
Right.
I literally built a gym in my garage because I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. I need to have no excuses whatsoever. Right?
Me too.
Like, that's
Mine's
just
in my
it.
basement, but yeah.
Yeah. We don't. The soil is a little salty. We don't get basements down here, but I had to utilize my garage, right? And like there was.
That's right. That's that Florida stuff. Up here in the Northeast, we all got.
Yeah,
basements.
exactly. Yeah, we all got basements, and as long as they're taller than like 5 feet, you're good. You can make things happen. But
Yeah.
my parents' basement was like 5 foot tall. I always wanted to put a bunker down there and like make a little snap shooting alley, but
Yeah.
I couldn't. I can never do it. But I wanted to do it here too, but the field's 8 minutes away. I feel like I should just get
Go to
off
the
my
field.
ass and go to the field.
Yeah.
Do some
definitely.
training, not beat up my garage, but yeah, it's
What
great.
field is that?
So the name is Black Ops Paintball. Shout out to
Black
Black Ops
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
allowing us to be there pretty much every day.
I went to the one in North Carolina to talk to the owner one time. Very nice
Mhm.
guy. And
Yeah.
the one in North Carolina is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of in a unique little spot too.
The Myrtle Beach one, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Myrtle Beach one's kind of tiny. The one in North Carolina is crazy. The turf there, I feel like, is probably the most slippery turf I've ever
Slide for
seen.
days.
Yeah, if you ever watch like Matt the Gym Rat, he's blown up on the internet. There's videos of him like he'll dive before the snake one, and he can slide legitimately to the 50 snake. Like you can slide forever on that field. It's insane, but it's funny. Yeah, so I don't really venture out there too much. It's 2.5 hours away. It's a lot of back roads, and I have a field right here.
Right.
So like, I don't really play any of the local tournaments. But I mean, I'm still ranked low enough to where I guess I could, but I just like to my little niche with my field. I'm there all the time. I don't know. I like it. So I'm just always there. And, it's nice. They allow us to go there during the week. So that's cool. Not a lot of places are open, all the time.
During the
so,
week.
Yeah.
None of them are here on Long Island.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm friends with like some like again like the Bears guys and the Young Money Entertainment guys who they were like 200 plus. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know any of those
Yeah,
Oh
guys.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
know them.
And
Baracco.
yeah,
Yep.
Broyo, Ant. Oh my God, yeah, Ant he's crazy. I love Ant, but they're like, I send them pictures, right, Snapchat of us playing, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck, dude? Like it's raining, or the like, why is the field open?" I'm like, "No, I'm just lucky. I got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
You really
was
did.
because I was really like, I was ready to be done, and then
Oh boy,
yeah
you're
showed
back.
up. Yeah showed up, and I said, I guess I'm playing paintball again. He says I'm not allowed to, you know. He's so nice. There's some other guys there that are awesome too.
Yeah.
You know, Brian, Quentin, you guys, you know who you are, and they're always fun. So it's nice, but I felt like I don't know, I like it more now. I love the game more, and the team that I'm on with David and the Titans, those dudes are awesome. So it's great. We'll see what happens. We have big things coming though. So I mean, I think semi-pro
You gonna pick
entirely is
up your
gonna.
brother?
Yeah, well, he tore his ACL in Philly last year, so he's
Oof.
down for the count. Yeah, he's just coming back. This is great. So, you know, Matt, he's my older brother. I tell everyone he's my little brother. You know, and so he still played after I was done. He still played. He wanted me to come play Philly. I was like, no, dude, I'm not. I'm done. Like, it is what it is.
I'm
And then
retired.
he tore his ACL. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, you know, I kind of want to play paintball again. So he just sits there and watches now. He just comes to the field. He's like itching. He's like finally able to get back and do some stuff now.
Yeah.
So we've been doing snapping drills with him. So he's getting kind of ran through the ringer, you know. We have
The,
this one drill.
the rehab on the ACL is fucking.
It's rough. It's really rough. And the field that we're at, you know, it's turf, but it can get a little slippery. So I'm
Mhm.
like, we do not allow him to move. We're like, you sit in this
Yeah,
bunker.
be
I do
careful.
not want to see you re-tear your ACL. He's like, well, the doctor said I can jog. I'm like, not on here. I don't care what the doctor said. Do not try and do anything. Just
Yeah.
sit in the bunker and snap.
Be
And we
safe.
have
It's still the
this.
off season. You don't got to
Yeah,
push it now.
that's it. And there's no contract online for him. So like, just you're good. Like,
Yeah.
just take it slow. Because if you have an injury, I mean, and Thomas from our team's just getting back from that too. Like, you're gonna get set back a whole nother year, if not more. Could be forever. You never know, right? Like,
Right.
it's a lot. But we do this drill where we'll put whatever bunker it is, 2 Doritos. If we want to make it hard on ourselves, so we'll do the mini Doritos, and we'll put them like 10 yards away. And then you'll snap out of it, but one person stays out and they're posted. So we'll pick a side, and then the other person has to come out and shoot them 3 times. But the person that's posted can shoot at them.
Shoot
So
back,
you're
yeah.
yeah, and you're just getting destroyed pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, you get shot so much, and some of the guys there they just don't miss. So I'm just getting shot in the head a lot. My brother, I think it was like 6 times in a row he came out and I shot him in the same exact spot and he was so frustrated.
Yep.
It was funny. I was like, "Hey, welcome back, bud. Like, you know, things have changed, but this is where you're at now." And that'll break you down. That drill sucks,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes you. I mean, if you don't want to get shot, you better hit your shot, and that's what like we focus on making that first ball count because I think that can really. That's like a big difference in players I've
Oh
seen.
yeah.
You know, even in the semi-pro division, there's good players and there's guys that if they just don't miss, you can go. You don't even have to be the best athlete or the smartest guy. If you can just make your shots count, you're gonna win a lot.
I
That's why
couldn't agree more.
that's why paintball fit is paintball fit right there. Their shots are some of the best. They're playing all the time, right? So they're out doing the same thing that I'm doing, just on a larger scale. And
Dude,
yeah, they don't.
1,000%. So
That's
all the
how it
time,
is.
like if I'm at the field and I'm by myself, like I'm an early bird, like I get up early for work and shit. So I'm typically one of the
Mhm.
first guys there. I'll do like if there's no one there, I got no problem doing breakout drills, man. Nailing in
Yeah,
those first couple shots.
that's the way to do it. Like those are the things that make some of the. I mean, some of the pro guys like they're out all the time doing that, like hundreds of times in a day. They're not they're not slowing down. But that's the stuff that a lot of people don't see usually, right? So they think it doesn't happen. And then now that we have, like we mentioned, social media a few minutes ago, like essentially, I mean, everyone wants clout. Let's be real here. Everyone
Uh-huh.
wants the clout, but it's also showing like this is really what it takes. You know, to like people are at the
Right.
field, you know, all the time. And I know there's a couple of, like I think we're at the field probably more than most people. Like some there's 6 days sometimes, 6 days a week where we're at the field every single day, and that's a lot. It starts beating up on the body a little bit, but it's starting to show. The things have changed, and especially if we have chips on our shoulder. That's just what you need to do it if you want to get better. That's kind of how you have to do it.
Dude, 1,000%. I mean, you can say whatever you want to like motivate you. I love to put it to motivate myself is that every single thing I'm not doing, somebody else could be. And then when I
Yeah.
lose, then I can't like, well, I didn't do everything I could have, So I try and make sure that like I do every single thing I possibly
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, that's really it. And like some people have the ability to be out on the field all the time or just do something. If you're not at the field, you're in the gym doing something, right, to better yourself. And some people can't. They work a lot, right? Like that's how life
Right.
is.
Like
But
maybe
Right.
like you can't get to the field, but as long as like you're doing everything like you can, then you can't be upset, right?
that's
Maybe you work a lot so you couldn't get to the field, but you know what? Like, dude, go do 25 push-ups, dude. Like fucking do something.
something. Yeah, something. And then correcting those mistakes, right? Like the things that you do. Like I said, there's no excuses, right? And like the biggest challenge I think if we go back to like my team, right? So the biggest challenge for us, honestly, we did not play our best, but outside of the practice that we're going to fix that is like there's a language barrier with our team,
Dude,
right?
I
And
was
that's
about to
like
say like communication has got to be the biggest issue you guys face.
that's a real issue. Sorry, Jakob. I know he's going to see this. He's our Polish player. Love Jakob. He didn't know what lettuce was, right? So that just paints you a picture. We were in Chipotle. I love this story. And so like I had just met all these guys, right? I think it was our first day meeting. And like I'm a goofy guy, so they were all like, Who the heck did we just pick up? Right? Like what
Yeah.
the heck just happened? And we went to Chipotle, and so Jakob is lost. He's like, what is this? And I was like, all right. He's like, tell me what you get, and then I'll get that. I was like, okay. So I get a bowl with like white rice, chicken. I'm pretty plain and just vanilla guy. Chicken,
yeah.
rice, and cheese and lettuce, right? So he's like, lettuce? I'm like, yeah, lettuce. And he just looks at me. I'm like, all right, you're gonna make me Google lettuce in public right now and show you. Like, so, and the rest of the team like didn't hear this. Yeah. So like I Googled just a big head of lettuce and I hold it up and he's looking at it. And the one kid, Hunter, on our team, like turns around and looks at me. He's like, what the fuck is going on back here? And he looks at lettuce. He goes, oh, kebab? I'm like, no, that's lettuce. That's what kebab. And I was like, kebab? No. He's like, no, that's kebab. I'm like, whatever you call it, it's lettuce here. So, but like that translates to on the field where like there's times where he would play in front of me and I would just be screaming at him because I'm like, Jakob. And he's just not answering. I'm like, what's going on?
That's your name, bro.
Yeah, and nothing. And then like he would start yelling stuff because we had call outs and he would yell stuff and it would just be like the most random thing. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like this is not
yeah, okay, sure, yep.
Yeah, like that's what it was. Like there was a point where it was actually kind of funny. Some of my friends came and watched like one of our game, and so they're all on the sidelines on the D side, and I go out to the corner, and it was Jakob, Ivan. There was a couple of guys, and there was just miscommunication. It was no one's fault, but we had a call out for if the guy was in the middle, we had that call out. So I said, "Hey, caution the China," which is what we called the middle, and they said, "Okay," and they gave me the call that the China was clear. At least that's what I thought. So I bumped up and just got obliterated. Like it was terrible. And I was like, what the heck happened? And they're like, did you say that China was clear? I was like, no, I was asking you. But and then I got lit up. And that happened like 4 different times where I'd be right next to somebody and I'm saying, hey, like, check this, do this. And they're saying the same thing to me. And we're like, I don't know what you're saying. So we've been focusing on that a lot. We changed our call outs to just the most like generalized.
Shit,
yeah. But that's what needs to happen, and we'll work on that. And Brandon knows that. Brandon's going to, he knows what to do. He's going to clean it up. And that's one of the things that like, I think it's gotten even better since, right? Just with us, like we have a Facebook chat. That's how we talk. And we're talking all the time now. So like they get different verbiages and things like that. Because some of their words they're not the same. And I mean, they still know how to play, but oddly enough, I think what played in their favor when they won Sacramento was that it was a blind layout, so the playing field was super even, and their mistakes could make some mistakes, and they got past because the other team was probably making the same. Mistakes. Yeah, yep. Exactly. So now when you have those layouts, we really need to put in the work, but like have it down pat, right? And we need to know what people are going to do without even having to say anything, just so make it like a lot easier. So, and that just comes with reps.
Mm-hmm.
That comes with reps, really. And that's what we brought Brandon in to clean everything up. He's going to take care of us. He's going to do a good job. And but that's the biggest thing was, if one of your teammates doesn't know what lettuce is, or I don't know what something is. We went to Publix and they asked me to get the trolley and I had no clue what that was. Right.
The cart.
It was a cart, but they knew I didn't know and they fucked with me. They were calling it a trolley, they were calling it a Tristler, like all sorts of stuff. I'm walking around Publix aimlessly. I was like, I don't know, and they're laughing at me, but I'm like, all right, this is how that's gonna go. Yeah. So then, but I couldn't do anything. Like there was nothing that I couldn't screw with them because they knew. Like I don't know, it's just funny. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, I'm not the new guy anymore. So I'm just the only. Well, now Brandon's here, so he's the only other American. So I feel like I have a big brother now to kick their butts a little bit because they won't make fun
team
of
up
me.
on.
Yeah, exactly. They know everything. They know our lingo now, though, so it's kind of done. But we'll see what happens. It's just as long as Jakob knows what lettuce is.
You'll be all right.
This time.
As long as you can get his Chipotle order in.
That's right. As long as you can get the Chipotle order. That's like our ongoing joke too. Is like lettuce. Anytime we see him, that's all we say. And he just laughs. He just smiles and doesn't say anything and like walks away. I'm like, I don't even know if he understood what we're saying.
Right.
But he's so funny. He does. He just smiles and waves. Essentially, that's what he does. But he's a great player too. He's one of our pro guys because he plays in Poland. So, he'll play the D side with Jason this year. So that'll be good.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to see that.
I'm excited.
Give like any can you give advice to like a young up and coming player, like you made a pretty big jump, you started out pretty low, you're playing semi-pro now, a lot of people that listen to us are obviously not pros, divisional players. If you could give any advice to them to try and climb their ranks as quick as possible, what would you tell them, or even tell maybe like a younger you?
Definitely like keep with it. And so the biggest thing that I like advice I would give myself, like the biggest thing that I saw like a difference in myself was play. A lot of people want to play lower divisions for longer, right? Because they feel comfortable there, but like don't feel comfortable. Go up as high as you can. Don't make the jump from D4 to semi-pro. Don't do that, right? Unless like you if you think you can. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody no, right? But go to practice, and if you get beat up at practice, like that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing because that's teaching you what you can't do. And if you know all the things you can't do, and you're going to get better at the things that you excel at, right? So like that's the biggest thing I think that turns players away is they go to practice and maybe they only play like 3 or 4 points in that day, and they're playing another team that's just maybe not that good or just random people. Obviously, there's times where like that might be the only case, right? You might just have that, but just try and get out in the field as much as possible and play the good guys. Like try things in practice that you don't know if that's going to work. Like push yourself, because a lot of people try to win in practice, and that's across every division from D5 to pro. There's teams that want to win in practice and they don't do well in the events. So like if you just
mistake I see all the time.
Yeah, if you go to practice, like don't be afraid to make mistakes, and if there's a good player there, like ask him for help, pick his brain. Like hopefully if they want to truly grow the sport and they're not like an asshole, they're going to help you. And that's the best thing that you could do. Like ask for help, ask people to, if they did something and you want to know how they shot you or how they did it, like ask them, because you're going to learn more. And that's like, that was the biggest thing for me was, I mean, I stayed down for so long because I just felt comfortable. It was kind of like easier for me. I didn't really play that much. And then like I saw what it takes and I was like, no, I can do this. Like I can work that hard. So I do now. And like, it's made me such a better player just getting out there all the time. And even if it's just yourself, like just having the gun in your hands, shooting at targets, whatever, just moving. Like if you look at my Instagram, like there's videos of me sliding into a bunker, like I'm really in a game, right? And there's half the field's deflated, but like that's how I train. Like I'm going to play everything full speed. I'm going to try my hardest.
How you're gonna play. Yeah, I hate when I see people half-ass in practice.
Yeah, and then like just the reps are huge too. You know, there's some people like go to the field and they'll shoot, you know, the target 5 or 6 times, and they'll be like, all right, cool, but like that's not enough. You know, there's somebody else that's shooting it 100 times, right? There's somebody else doing more.
Shoot a hopper at it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's really it. Because if you're not doing it, somebody is, right? Like somebody's they're gonna work harder, and like that's just my mentality. And like that's where I had to change my mentality a bit because, you know, playing and like the divisional events are honestly like one of the most important ones because that's really not every team can afford to travel to the NXL, things like that, right? So like you got to play these regional events, but like if you can really clean up shop there, like that's how some of the top pro teams started. Like Revo and even Paintball Fit, like, and they're not pro
Revo,
anymore; they're
yeah.
semi-pro. Like Revo, and like 187, they were all playing these regional events, and they were just smoking people left and right. And then they worked
Leverage.
up to look at Leverage. Leverage is the same way. They came into TSXL and they pretty much said, "This is our league now." Like we're gonna win every And then
got a lot of money off me.
Yeah, but it translated well, and they did pretty well. They're making a jump to semi-pro. Let's see how that turns out. I think they'll be fine, but we'll see how that turns out. But those guys put in the work. Like, if you look at some of their guys, they're at the field during the week.
All the
they're
time.
they're not taking anything for granted, and that's what I would tell like my younger self too. Like, because I did that a lot. I took everything for granted. If we woke up and we just didn't feel like playing that weekend, like we just wouldn't go. And the times where I did grind, like I got so much better so quickly. I'm like, if I would have done this from Jump Street, it's not that hard to do. If I would have done it from the beginning, I don't know where I would have been,
Right.
And anybody can do that. You just got to want to.
It's all about the drive. Same thing. Like I noticed like I've tried to do the same thing where like, I don't know, like I'm not shooting for a specific, like, no, like say I'm snap shooting at a target. Like I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to shoot this hopper. I'm going to shoot a pod. I'm going to literally shoot until my thighs are numb and I can't walk anymore. And I physically can't shoot it anymore. Like
that's it. That's the way it takes, right? Like you got to come out and you got to. And Ronnie told me this, and he drills like amazing. Him and all those guys do. But Ronnie said like he picks a day when he goes to drill. He'll pick a day, and like that's what he does. He doesn't shy off from that. If he wants to pick a day where he's going to snap shoot off his left side or whatever, like that's all he does. And that's amazing that's what he does because he's really good at it, Like he's a very quick, shifty player. Yeah, doesn't miss the shots. He's doing all right. So like, if you can see that, if it's paying off for him, it can pay off for anybody. You just got to be able to put that work in, And like the blast camp guys do the same thing. They go out there, they're out there during the week, and they're doing pretty well. So it's not impossible to achieve that. You just got to really honestly like want it.
No, you just honestly got to want it. Like all that cliche stuff, winning isn't loyal to anyone, all that nonsense. Like, dude, it's all just facts. It's all about putting in the work.
Yeah. And like, that's really it. And like, there was also like something, this is kind of like, I don't know. We have a really good team, and by any means, I'm not saying anything differently, but there's also a lot of kids who, and not just kids, but players who like strive. And I kind of touched on it before, like they want they care about like ranking a lot, like what your APPA says, right? There's a D14 that's playing semi-pro or a D14 that's playing D2, and like they're kind of getting beat up on, and they're not like that to that extent. You might not learn, you know what I mean? You might after a while, but you can do it a different way. And there's a lot of people who like they care too much about that, and they care about being on a good team. But like me personally, if I'm a good player on a good team full of good players, that's perfect scenario. But I would rather be on a team where I can play every point than go to a team where I'm just going to sit the bench.
Right.
You're not going to learn that way. You're not going to create a name for yourself. And that does happen a lot. Obviously, if any semi-pro guy were to go pro tomorrow, they're probably not playing for 75% of the teams right off the bat, right? There are some guys who will, right?
Right.
But like they're probably not going to be a starter for half the teams. But that's natural, right? Because that's that jump. The jump between the gap between semi-pro and pro is it's there. You know what I mean? Like it's. But
people make the jump all the time. People go up, people go down. It happens.
And it happens, right? But if you just like do it the right way, when you do make that jump, you're not going to be the guy sitting on the bench. You're going to jump right into it, right? Because you gradually made your climb up the ranks, and like Leverage is one of those teams that kind of did it. I don't think they ever played D4, but they played D3, I think, and then D2.
They played D4 like a million years ago.
Oh yeah, way back, yeah, all the way back, yeah, all the way back, yeah.
GPL was in existence.
Exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. That's it. I mean, that's the truth. But like, and actually, all like random offset, like kind of side story here. When you said GPL, so one of my first events ever was a GPL when I was at Dell Hobbies. And I played against, ironically, I played against Sam Monville, and Sam and I were talking, and he was like, dude, like, I remember your team, like, oh, and they destroyed us. But that's when I realized, like, this was this full circle of, like, look, we were at the same point. At one point in time, we were at the same exact level to a similar extent. Look where he is, right?
Yeah.
I said, anybody can make that trajectory, right? Like, Sam's awesome. I love Sam, but like he started the same place I did. So it's not unattainable. It's not unachievable. You just gotta like put in the work. And he did it the same way. Like Leverage is kind of doing it. They played D3 mopped up. They played D2 mopped up. Then they went back and did it again. You know, they didn't have the outcome I think that they wanted this year, but like they're doing pretty well. And there's other teams like Casey, Missouri All Stars. Like they're good teams for the sport. Like they're out there, they're grinding, and like that whole team is growing as a team. I see too many people trying to individually just go and do their own thing, join a team and be the best guy, or join a team full of studs. They don't care that they're not going to get any playing time because they just, I don't know, they don't care. They'll rather sit the bench just to say they can play on so-and-so's team.
Right.
It's like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
That's even local. That's local NFL, anything.
Yeah, everything.
NR.
I see it all over. I'm like, play where you feel comfortable. Play where you're gonna play. Like that's just it. Right. You know, you shouldn't be. I'm not gonna tell anybody they can't do something. But if you're like an unranked player, a D5 player, and you see people playing D3 or D2, and you're like, I want to play that. But like, in order to get the most out of it, you got to be able to play it. So like, put in the work, and you'll get there faster than if you were to just jump right to it right away.
Right.
You know, honestly, if you were to jump right into it, you're not gonna adapt that well. But I see a lot of people doing it.
No, make sure you beat them up at practice.
Honestly, but and there's also like the flip side. Like, yeah, you got to beat people up at practice, and some people will be able to take that and learn, and then there's some people that can't. They can't handle that, and unfortunately, I don't know. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it.
Yeah, you got to be able to take your losses. You got to be able to learn from defeats, man. You have to.
Oh yeah, that's really it. But a lot of people, they don't. I don't think they handle that very well.
No, but that's like,
all right.
It's one of the most important things. Like, honestly, like, not to say that winning is easy, but when you're winning, everything is easy because everything is going right. Like, it's when you're getting defeated, how to turn it, like, dissect that and learn why you're getting defeated and turn that around. Like, I see it all the time. Like, when people lose, and then I always say, like, bro, there's nothing on your shoelaces that's gonna fucking help you. Like, dude, you just lost. Look at me. Let's figure this the fuck out, dude.
That's real. That's like, that's huge, right? That mentality. And that, like, we had at Cup, right? We had a really bad match where we played Arsenal and we were smoking them, and then we let them come back and we tied, right? We just shut down. But like, when things were going so bad, I was like, all right, well, this is where I'm going to find out if these dudes are going to fist fight in the pits or not, right? And everything was super calm, and I was like so happy because it's been a long time since I've been a part of a team where it was like that.
Right, because you see it all the time. Like, it's so hard when things are going poorly. Like, everyone's on edge, their nerves, but like I think we're talking about this before. Like, that doesn't help any situation. You're never gonna pull yourself out of a 3-hole or 4-hole or even a 2-hole deficit if you're all motherfucking each other and everyone's pissed off and yada yada yada.
And I was that guy.
That white T gang?
Well, that's anybody in New York. That's what it is. It's usually what happens is we'll lose and Baraka will come off the field and just start being Baraka, and you can't help but just be like, I'm ready to go again. Like, it worked. It always worked. Like, all those dudes with the Bears guys are like the white T gang, because there was a separation for a little bit where they both were playing their own things, and like, but they're all the same guys. Like, I loved it. I loved every second of it. That was probably the most fun, like, outside of, honestly, with these guys that I'm with now, like, they were the most fun people. They're some of my best friends too. Like, they were the most fun to play with because it was more than just paintball. Like, we goofed off all the time. Like, the white T gang, it was so funny. You played Chicago and like ran out of money, so went to the casino, right? And then like, that's the only way we could pay for paint. And then we couldn't afford jerseys. And thank you, Todd Martinez, hooking us up with the white T gang jerseys when Raza was still around. That was amazing. And then like, that's how we had like a little bit of name for ourselves, because they kind of had, we had the pizzazz a little bit. We were kind of goofy. We would argue with each other in the pits, you know, and like, but I was like that. I mean, when we played with Playground Army, like, me and my brother started that. So we won Chicago, then we played MAO was the next event. We made it to the Final Four, and we were playing AC Dallas before they were who they are now.
Right.
AC Diesel now, whatever. But it was in the beginning, and we were in the semifinals, so you win to go to the finals. We were up, and we ended up like crumbling. We lost, right? But I remember I went in the pits and fist fought my brother. I punched him right.
Say, did you ever fight your brother?
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. I came off and then I started pointing fingers. It was kind of my fault. And then he pointed back at me. So then and I'll tell you what, my parents never really came to our, we played hockey. They always came to hockey, but they never came to our paintball tournaments.
Yeah.
Never. This was the only.
I play with my brother. My parents have never come to see us play.
They came once and they got there right before this match. And the first thing they see is me and Matt just teeing off on each other. And they didn't come back. They still haven't. But like I realized after that, actually Matt cut me. He cut me from the team. He cut me from the team after that. Ironically speaking, the next event I played with DC Devastation and we won. And then they didn't win. So I thought that was really funny. Thanks for cutting me, Matt. But yeah, I realized after that, I said maybe this isn't like the best way to handle things. Yeah. And now I'm kind of like the polar opposite. Like if things are going bad, I just sit there and just look. I'm analyzing it, but I'm not going to get worked up unless I'm trying to like amp the team up. Then obviously I'll do that. I will talk a little shit at that point, but it's try to be as positive as possible because I always see teams. There's nothing I love better too. When you're playing a team and you're starting to beat them and you hear them screaming
going off, right?
And you're like, hey, it's over. It's over. We got them. Like we got.
That's why I try and tell people like that never helps because of what we just said. As the player, when the other team is freaking out, like, you're like, oh, we got them. So never give that other team that satisfaction. Like I said, even if you are losing, like whatever, just look at the clipboard. Like let's figure it out.
Yeah, like that's what like that's it. When I played in Chicago last season, I played with this team from Chicago, and like I'd never met these dudes, but we played and it was the quarterfinals and we were playing Omaha Jams, I think was like the team's name. Unfortunately for them I'll get to that eventually, but so like we were losing and we were down like 2-0 and there wasn't that much time left, but like they were so loud. These guys were like the Midwest version, like that mentality of like just the loud, obnoxious guys, but we were never like arguing at each other. We were arguing like or yelling to each other. So like we played terribly and the one kid Cody, I love him, was just at the nets like screaming but like pumping us up like in a good way. Like you would have thought we won the match the way he was yelling, and we ended up coming back and winning. And like that, but like that's the stuff that works, right? Like that team operated that way. Like that team operated that way and it worked for them. My team now, the Titans, like we don't really operate that way, but it works. Like we are just wherever we come to the field, and I think you see it a lot in semi-pro. There's not very many teams who get amped up. Padres definitely get amped up, but that's just Twitch being Twitch. But like a lot of teams are very even keeled. It's more like, what'd you see? What happened? What'd you do wrong? Like whatever. Yeah, exactly. Because you can't afford to get in your own head. I think if that happens, no matter what division, like you're done.
Not to mention the time factor. 2 minutes in between points or whatever, like whatever, or one game, like that time goes quick, man.
Yeah, it does, and that's like thank you, Matt. He helped us in the pits at Cup, but that was our only pit help, really. We did have a couple other people come through and help us, but those little things too, like good teams have that pit help, generally speaking, or like a coach to handle things because in between points, especially like you said, if with split deck too, like if it's a really quick point, you don't have a lot of time. You can't spend your time watching them play. You have to focus on you need to focus on what the game plan is and getting your shit situated, getting wiped off, ready, and that hurt us so much at Cup because Matt did everything he could, but he was it, right? We had one player was running pods, we had one guy filling pods, trying to wipe people off, trying to get air and all the guns, everything like that, and it was just we felt behind the 8 ball like quite a bit.
Yeah, no, and you can't do that.
You can't come back from that a lot of times. It was definitely like tough. So when you have like that organization, that's what's key.
Oh, dude, I've seen it make such a big difference. Like even this next year, helping out the Slugs Kims playing X Ball so many times. The other team didn't have a lot of pit help, and like they're slow to the box, and I'm there yelling like, "Yo, the other team's not ready, boys.
That's right.
They're not ready."
Yeah, and you got to know that stuff too, like because it's all like a mentality game. Like if you're the team that's kind of rushing and you're feeling rushed, and then all of a sudden, like say you're the far side and you see the other team's already at the the
Box
box, you're like, oh
waiting.
shit, you
About
don't want
to
to
shoot.
be there. You don't want to be running. I'm not in bad shape. I'm in terrible shape. The last thing I want to do is run down the side of the field to get to
Be
the
out of
start
breath
box.
before the point even starts.
I'm already out of breath, and then get shot off the break because I couldn't take my first step fast enough or something. Like it's just those little things add up. But that's also another thing that like we train a lot is, especially in the summertime, we go so hard in the summer. We want to be exhausted, and then that's really where like once we're exhausted, our legs are feeling like jello. Then we change our drills to do other things because that's a difference maker. Like if you're super tired, the other team's super tired, and you've been here before, like you're in that deep water and you're used to it, you're gonna have one up on them.
Dude,
You know,
1,000%.
because
Like I love the thing that Joe Rogan says when it's like, I'll just wait till you're tired and then we'll fight.
yeah,
Now you're tired.
now you're tired, and if you can have that mentality and like operate that way, like you're gonna be able to pull it out. You know, I think there is, and you had mentioned before, like I think the athleticism in paintball is getting better and better all the time, but there's still going to be people that get tired or whatever it might be, whether it's emotionally or physically. Like you got to be able to be stronger and be better, and you're gonna win.
1,000%.
You know?
If you can block, whether it's like you said, physical or mental pain, like if you could just block it out.
Yeah, and like I've made mistakes tons of times. So that you learn from the mistakes. I mean, we played a team on Sunday at Cup, and we were winning at one point, and just by one. But like we had our game plan down pat, and then we changed it. We got in our own heads, and we changed it. And so that's like that emotional. Like we got emotionally. I think honestly, like we got emotionally exhausted from doing the same thing over and over again. So we wanted to switch it up, and it shot us in the butt. They won. I think they scored like 4 points in a row. But like we emotionally beat ourselves, and like that can't happen.
Yeah, because you let the momentum swing.
Yeah, and look what happened. They made it pretty far. I mean, they beat us, so
Yeah, A team's a solid team, man. They've been around for a little bit now.
they're not. Yeah, they're like you said, they're not new. So
Yeah,
And they
there's
just
a
got
lot.
they got Josh Pike.
Yeah, they
Oh,
did.
they
They
got
picked
Pike?
up Josh. Yeah, they picked up Josh. You know,
'cause they lost
there's a
Justin. He went to Heat.
yeah. So Justin went to Heat, and then Josh, he's back playing again. He's going to play with them, and there's a lot of semi-pro teams. There's what's the team with Zach Hill? I think it's Oracle. Is that what they're calling themselves?
Olology.
Yeah, the
yeah.
ology. That's it. Yeah, yeah. So like, I don't know who the rest of their team is, but that's another team that like, those are probably gonna be squared away guys that are gonna play. Right? They're gonna be good emotionally. They're gonna be Zach Hill. I love Zach. Like he's great to talk to, but he's so smart. He's like a good player, but he's always soft spoken, even keeled. Like,
Oh
and
yeah,
if he can run that team that way, like they're gonna be an issue. But then there's other teams in the semi pro division that just they fall apart a lot. And that's just every division, but just I play it, so that's like where I've seen it firsthand. Like they fall apart a lot, and you just I don't know. You can't really come back from that all too
yeah.
much.
When your team crumbles that hard.
Yeah, and a lot of times you see players, even if they make mistakes, they still play, and that
Yeah.
can't happen. Like that's another thing that I've seen. That,
Harris
like,
Hussein. I mean,
there's teams there's players that make mistakes,
well, they
but
just finally cut him, so
they did cut him. He's onto something. I think he's gonna
he's going to be on.
He'll
Russian
land
Legion.
somewhere.
yeah, he's gonna go somewhere, and I think LJ was trying to get back into it too.
LG is going to be on ML Kings.
Yeah, the Kings because they lost Connor, which is
My fellow
huge.
long-haired brethren. Yeah.
yeah, they lost Connor to Heat. That's a big pickup. Trying to there's been so many moves. It's like crazy.
So many.
I like John because he was in my research room class. So
Oh, was he
shout
really?
out. Yeah. We went to the same high school, so
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's such a small world.
I remember so when I started in paintball, people probably heard this many times, but when I started in paintball, I was playing like woods ball and like big games and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Then eventually woods ball tournaments and speedball tournaments, and then like I play everything. I like everything.
Yeah.
But he was playing on Denver altitude or something, and I was like, he was like, yeah, I gotta leave early on Friday because I'm going to Chicago for paintball practice, and I'm like, oh wow, this dude's pro.
Yeah.
He was really D2 at the time, but I thought he was pro. Like,
Yeah.
out of school early to go to paintball practice in Chicago. Like, this is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
and he would go like all the time, and I'm like, dude, this guy's got to be the man. And then I finally learned. I'm
Living the
like, all
life.
right, so he's in
Mhm.
D2, whatever. I mean, eventually he gets on, Heat and then Aftershock, and he was on Distortion. Like I always followed him, and
Mhm.
he's always been nice to me. But I was
Yeah.
just like, this is crazy.
A lot of people don't. And this is another thing that I would go back to, like telling my younger self or like a newer player is like traveling is not like try to do it. Like go try and play anywhere. You don't have to like you don't have to only play at your local field or the team that you just know, right? Like there's so many opportunities out there. Like go
Right.
play for it. Like you said, like John going out to Chicago, you were like, what the heck? Like, what do you mean? But like a lot of people don't, and some people, it's not possible, right? I understand that. But if you
Yeah.
can, like, do it,
Right.
because there's a lot of opportunities, not just where you live, wherever it might be,
You're right,
because
you never know. You could show up to the field like you, and Chad Yaya Boucher could be there.
yeah, the most random thing, like of all thing. I'm like, why are you here? First of all, but like of all things, and then you just get that opportunity,
Mhm.
and there's it's not just me with other like there's so many fields that have pro guys because there's teams are spread out a lot, right? So there's a
Yep.
lot of fields where like there might be a single pro guy that plays there, and like if you know that, like go there, go get the exposure,
Yeah.
go learn stuff because a lot of people don't do it, and if you got to travel, like you got to travel. Unfortunately, I did not like Chicago. I won't unless I have to. Probably
I
won't
don't.
be going.
I don't like Chicago, so
I
I'm
also
good with
went in the
that.
winter time, so like maybe that's why it was just I don't know. I had fun when I was there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just something
Coming
about
from New
Myrtle
Jersey,
Beach.
going there in the winter, it's like a lateral move. Like, I wanna go where it's warmer.
Yeah, and I moved. I moved down here. Like there's palm trees that surround our field. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. And then you go to back into Long Island, and there's
Yeah.
some fields, or New Jersey. There's still some fields that like aren't the best, and no fault of their own, right? It's just all different. There's different lays of the land,
Mhm.
and there's private fields in the Midwest that are beautiful, or like there's a field I think like where Prime used to play,
Yeah.
and
Right.
beautiful, right? Like
Yeah.
beautiful. People don't know about it, but it's like amazing. Or you go out west, right? Out west always has something crazy, but like their turf is notoriously rough over
Rough,
there.
yeah, bad.
So there are players that live there, play other places just because the field might be better or the competition's better. So like that's something I don't think enough people do in the lower divisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not realistic, right? You're not getting paid when you play D4, D3, or D2, right? You're not getting paid to play, so it's easier to say that, right, when you have the funding, but
Right.
there's still an extent where you can go out and
Right, but if you have the means, you're saying for sure, like, take advantage of that.
take advantage of it, right? And even if it's not just, it might not have to fly somewhere, right? Like there's like for me, my instance, like there's a field 2.5 hours away, and there's a lot of players that go there. And I've never been there. I mean, I've been there once, but like I've never been there to go like practice and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So because I have my field here, but like there's so many kids that could come to where we are and play, but they don't. They don't want to make the drive. But I
Yeah.
guarantee it'd be beneficial if they did. They just don't.
Right, more one-on-one time with the pro, dude.
That's something that people might take for granted. You know what I mean? That not a lot of people get. It's crazy, but like they don't care. They just don't want to. They don't want to come out. I'm always looking for more people to shoot at too. The both of
Give
us
me
are,
some
right?
targets, man.
I always want to get shot at. I always want more people to shoot at because there's Sundays where there's only 6 people at the field, right? And then you go to like Quick Shot or LLP where there's like 60.
Yeah,
All
so
those
many.
pretty much, and there's all those fields in the whole area. There's so many
Mobbed
people.
out all the time.
Yeah, that's why I was like nervous to go to LLP this Saturday. 'Cause I'm like, am I going to be the only person there?
Nope, you won't be,
And
don't worry.
everyone was like, no, there's going to be people there. So
There's
we'll
always
see.
people at LLP. It's open
Yeah,
365.
I haven't
364 actually. It's closed on Christmas. That's the only day.
I haven't. The last time I don't even know. It's probably 2017.
Damn,
It was I don't know.
5
Whatever
years
year I
ago.
played, we did a tournament with the YT gang, and we played there. That's the last time I've been there, so it was a little while. So I hear it's changed, but like, yeah, it's just crazy.
Oh, dude. Yeah, crazy how time goes. Yo, Brad, thank you so much for your time,
Absolutely,
man.
man.
It was great to break down, some of the off-season moves and great to hear
Always.
what it's like playing for, the international team, man.
Yeah, we talked about a lot, but it's been a
We
pleasure.
covered a lot.
We
We
were all over the place. There was no road today. It was just everywhere.
Yeah,
That's
and
all
you
right.
kind of got the brunt of it
That's
because
usually how
all
it
the
is.
time we haven't talked about any of these moves, so we kind of dug into the craziness that
Oh,
was
dude,
going on
yeah.
the last couple months in paintball.
Oh yeah. Even
So,
just
dude,
last night.
even
There's
just
been a
last
lot.
night. But dude, this is great. We'll have to do it again, man. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
I'd love it, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, yo, and guys, again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on the next one.
See yous.